If you own a home in the Triad, Greensboro, Winston-Salem, Kernersville, High Point, and you're thinking about selling in the next 6 to 12 months, this video is specifically for you. I'm going to walk you through exactly how to think about preparing your home for market in a way that actually protects your equity instead of draining it. No fluff, just the strategy I use with my own clients. Here's what I see over and over again. A seller decides they want to get top dollar, so they start a list. New kitchen, refinished hardwoods, fresh paint throughout, maybe a bathroom update. By the time they're done, they spent $20, $30, sometimes $40,000. And when we sit down and actually look at the numbers, they didn't get it back. And the hardest part of that conversation isn't the money. It's the fact that they did all that work. They lived through the disruption of a renovation, and then the market didn't reward them the way they expected. That's the mistake I want to help you avoid. Because here's what I've learned after working with sellers across this market. Spending more doesn't automatically mean earning more. Strategy means spending the right amount in the right places at the right time. Let's talk about who is actually buying homes in this market right now, because the buyer of 2026 is genuinely different from the buyer of 2021 or even 2023. Today's buyer has done their homework before they ever walk through your door. They know what your neighborhood sold for. They know the price per square foot on your street. They've looked at your home's history on Zillow. They are analytical in a way that buyers weren't when inventory was low and competition was high. They are also payment sensitive in a way that matters to you as a seller. When mortgage rates are elevated, even $10,000 in list price represents real money in their monthly payment. They feel that. It affects how they offer and affects how they negotiate. And inventory is growing. That means they have options. They don't feel the urgency they felt 3 years ago. They feel the freedom to walk away from a house that gives them any hesitation, and they will use it. So what does that mean for you? It means you are not selling to a buyer who is competing desperately for your home. You are selling to a buyer who needs to be convinced. And the way you convince them is not by spending more money, it's by removing doubt. After working with buyers and sellers in this market for years, I've distilled it down to two things that today's buyer actually needs to feel before they make an offer. The first is a powerful first impression. That doesn't mean luxury. It doesn't mean custom everything. It means that when they pull up to your house or scroll past your listing online, something in their brain says yes. It's a feeling, and it happens fast, faster than logic. The second thing is functional reliability. They need to believe that this house is not going to surprise them after they move in, that the HVAC is going to run, that there isn't a roof issue hiding behind fresh paint, that the inspection report is going to be boring. Here's what I want you to hold on to. Buyers don't need a perfect home. They need a home that feels honest. When a home is visually appealing and functionally sound, buyers stop looking for reasons to negotiate. They start looking for reasons to commit. That's the shift you're trying to create. I want you to completely rethink what curb appeal means in 2026. It used to mean that someone drives down your street, sees your house, and gets a good feeling before they walk in. That still matters, but it's no longer the first impression. The first impression now happens on a 5-inch screen. Before any buyer schedules a showing, they have already scrolled through your photos on Zillow or your MLS listing. In under 2 seconds, and I mean that literally, they have decided whether your home is worth their time. If your lead photo feels dark, dated, or cluttered, they move to the next listing. They never call. They never schedule. You just lost a potential buyer and you don't even know it happened. In neighborhoods like Irving Park, Buena Vista, Adams Farm, and Oak Ridge, markets where buyers have options and they know it, your photography is your first showing. It determines your showing volume, and showing volume is what creates competition. Competition is what creates your best price. So before you spend money anywhere inside the house, make sure the outside is ready to be photographed, because that photo is your opening argument. Let me give you 3 exterior upgrades that I recommend to almost every seller I work with, because the return on perception is completely out of proportion to the cost. First, the garage door. If your home has an older raised panel garage door, replacing it with a modern carriage style or flat panel design is one of the best investments you can make before listing. It completely changes the era the house reads as. Buyers who might have assumed your home was a project now see something updated and intentional. I've seen this single upgrade shift a buyer's offer by more than the door cost. Second, the front door. A new front door in matte black, deep navy, or forest green photographs beautifully. It signals that someone cares about this home. It's the handshake before the handshake. It sets the tone before they've even stepped inside. This can be as simple as a $200 paint job or a $1,200 door replacement. Either way, the return is real. Third, and this one surprises people, fresh mulch and clean landscaping. I've watched a $400 landscaping job make a home look $15,000 better in listing photos. Dark mulch, trimmed edges, clean beds. It sounds basic, but perception is everything, and a well-kept yard says this owner took care of things. That message carries all the way through the inspection. None of these are renovations. They're presentation moves. And in this market, presentation is negotiating leverage. I want to talk about kitchens because almost every seller I meet says the same thing. I know the kitchen needs updating, and they're not wrong. Buyers do care about kitchens. But there is a massive difference between updating a kitchen and gutting a kitchen. And in the Triad's $350 to $550 price range, a full gut renovation can actually work against you. Not because it looks bad, but because of what it does to your price. When you spend $30,000 to $50,000 on a kitchen, you need to raise your list price to justify the investment. And when you raise your list price into the next bracket, you've changed your buyer. Now you're competing against homes that are larger or newer or in a more premium location. Your buyer has higher expectations, and if anything in your home doesn't match those expectations, they either walk or they negotiate hard. The better move in almost every case is surface alignment. Paint the cabinet boxes and put on new hardware. That alone can transform a kitchen for under $2,000. Swap the light fixture. If countertops are badly dated laminate, a natural quartz can be done for $3,000 to $5,000. Deep clean everything. Stage it beautifully. The goal isn't to make your kitchen look custom. The goal is to make your buyer feel like they can move right in without a project. That feeling, move-in ready confidence, is worth more in an offer than a brand new kitchen that pushed you into the wrong price tier. This is one of the most important concepts in the entire video, and almost no one talks about it. Buyers don't browse by exact price. They search by range. And those ranges have invisible walls. When your list price crosses certain thresholds, say from $399,900 to $425,000, you have just exited one buyer pool and entered a completely different one. And those two buyer pools are not the same. The buyers searching up to $400,000 in Kernersville, Adams Farm, or near the Northern School District right now are active, motivated, and plentiful. Many of them are move-up buyers who sold something smaller and are ready to move quickly. They want a nice home. They don't expect perfection. The buyers searching $400,000 to $450,000 have seen more homes. They're more selective, and critically, They're comparing your home to everything else in that range, which may include newer construction in Summerfield or Oak Ridge that is simply going to feel newer for a similar price. So when you spend $18,000 renovating to justify listing at $425,000 instead of $399,900, you've moved into a thinner, pickier buyer pool with longer days on market risk, and you've still got to get back that renovation cost before you make an extra dollar. In many cases, the seller who listed at $399,900 with no renovation generated 20 showings in the first 10 days and received 2 competing offers, ended up netting more at closing than the seller who spent $18,000 to list at $425,000 and sat for 45 days. Price is not a number, it's a targeting decision, and I help my sellers make that decision strategically. This is the move I recommend to almost every seller I work with, and it consistently surprises people because it's so simple and so underused. Get a listing inspection before you put your home on the market. Here's why this is so powerful. When a buyer goes under contract on your home, they're going to hire their own inspector, and that inspector is going to go through everything: the attic, the crawl space, the electrical panel, the HVAC, all of it. And whatever they find becomes a negotiating weapon. A buyer who finds a $400 plumbing issue in an inspection report doesn't ask for $400. They ask for $2,000 because they're nervous. Their agent is aggressive, and that's how negotiations work. And you're 2 weeks into a contract. You've already taken the home off the market, and you're under pressure to make it work. But if you already knew about that issue, you fixed it for $400 before you listed. There's nothing on the report. The buyer has no weapon. The negotiation never happens. This is especially important for homes in established Greensboro and Winston-Salem neighborhoods, homes built in the 70s, 80s, and 90s that have older systems. The more history your home has, the more valuable this step is. A pre-listing inspection costs $300 to $500. I have seen it save sellers $5,000, $10,000, even more in late-stage concessions. It's one of the highest return investments you can make before listing. Here's something that's changed significantly in this market. Buyers are asking about operating costs in a way they never simply did 5 years ago. When rates are high and monthly payments are stretched, buyers are doing math they didn't used to do. They want to know, what is this house going to cost me every month? Not just on the mortgage, but to run. And the homes that answer that question confidently before the buyer even asks are the homes that generate the cleanest offers. So here's what I recommend. Have your HVAC serviced and get a receipt. Put it on the counter at every showing. That single piece of paper tells a buyer something no marketing copy can. It says this owner takes care of things. A maintained HVAC feels newer than its age. It removes a line item from the buyer's mental negotiation list. Pull 12 months of utility bills and have them available. In a payment-sensitive market, lower operating costs are a selling feature. If your bills are reasonable, show that. If your water heater is more than 12 years old, replace it before you list. A $900 water heater eliminates a $1,500 credit conversation at the closing table. That's a clean, simple trade. And if you have insulation or weatherization upgrades, make sure your agent is communicating them. Buyers who are thinking about their long-term costs will notice. The pattern here is simple. Answer every question before it becomes a concern. Hesitation kills offers. Every time a buyer has to wonder about something, there is a chance they talk themselves out of moving forward. You are not preparing your home to impress buyers. You are preparing to eliminate doubt. I want to bring everything we've talked about back to one idea, because I think it reframes the entire preparation process in a way that makes decision-making a lot clearer. You are not preparing your home to impress buyers. You are preparing it to eliminate doubt. Impressive is subjective. One buyer loves the bold wallpaper. The next buyer hates it. One buyer wants a chef's kitchen, the next buyer wants a clean canvas. You cannot renovate your way into impressing every buyer. But doubt? Doubt is universal. Every single buyer who walks through your door is quietly asking the same questions. Is this home worth what they're asking? Is there something wrong that I can't see? Am I going to regret this in 6 months? When your home is clean, well maintained, fairly priced, and presented with confidence, those questions go quiet. And when those questions go quiet, buyers make decisions. They stop overthinking and start picturing their life in your house. That is the moment you want to create. Not, wow, this is impressive, but I feel good about this. Because feeling good is what moves people off the fence and into a contract. Every decision we've talked about today, the curb appeal, the surface upgrades, the pre-listing inspection, the energy documentation, all of it is aimed at creating that feeling, the feeling of safety, the feeling of clarity, the feeling that this is the right home. Let's talk strategy before you spend a dollar. If any of what I've shared today resonated with you, if you're sitting there thinking about what you would or wouldn't do to your home before listing, I want to offer you something simple. I do a 20-minute strategy session with the sellers before they spend a single dollar on preparation. I'll walk through your home, or we can do it virtually, and I'll tell you exactly what I would do and what I would skip if it were my own property. What upgrades are worth it in your specific neighborhood? What price bracket protects your exposure? What repairs to address and what to leave alone? You'll walk away with a clear plan and a realistic number, and nothing I tell you will be designed to create more work for you or more commission for me. It will just be the truth. The 20-minute conversation has saved my clients thousands of dollars, and more importantly, it's helped them go into the market with confidence instead of guesswork. The link to schedule is right below this video. If you're thinking about selling in the next 6 to 12 months anywhere in the Greensboro, Winston-Salem, Kernersville, or High Point area, let's talk before you do anything else. I'm here when you're ready.